The knot in this video is widely regarded as one of the strongest fishing knots ever, but despite that, many people have never even heard of it. It's called the San Diego Jam Knot, and aside from being ridiculously strong, it's also super easy to learn. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how to tie it, I'll cover a few common mistakes that people make, and I'll go over one specific situation where this knot can't be used, so make sure you stick around all the way to the end of the video so you're not making that mistake. To tie this knot, you need your terminal tackle, in this case a hook, and then whatever line you're going to tie to it. So this knot is great for braid or fluorocarbon or mono. In this case, I'm using really high contrast line just to demonstrate the knot. So the first step is to run your line through the eye of your hook like normal. And then what you want to do is give yourself a decent amount of tag end, more than usual, I would say, depending on what knots you normally tie, to work with. So 10 or 12 inches is not too much. So then what you want to do is running up both lines a couple of inches. What you want to do is take the tag end and run it behind your main line here, and then give it a pinch. So now you've created essentially a loop that's maybe 3 or 4 inches long, and then you have a bunch of tag end below that. And in this case, looking at what I have here, I probably need even more tag end than that, so I'm going to adjust just a little bit. So now what you want to do, you have your loop that you've created and your tag end. So what you want to do is take your tag end and, holding both of these lines together, you want to start making wraps around both your main line and the loop that you created here. So you're just going to take your tag end and you're just going to begin running it over and under both, creating your wraps. Now, a couple things about your wraps. You want them to be sequential like this. In other words, you don't want to, you don't want to make one wrap and then end up with another wrap that went back over that one and so forth, right? You want them all to be right in line. That's important for the knot to sit correctly. And the other thing about it is the number of wraps that you're going to make is going to depend on the type and strength of line that you're tying. So if you're tying very light line, you might want up to 8 to 10 wraps. And if you're tying really heavy line, you might want as little as 3 to 5 wraps. But for a lot of lines, I think somewhere between 6 is a good average basis, but you can play with it depending on the type of fishing that you're doing. So now you've made your wraps, they're all in line, and what you want to do here is you have your main line and you have this little loop up here, and then you have your tag end towards the bottom. So you want to take the tag end, and what you want to do is you want to run it through this loop at the bottom that you've created. Now you don't want to run it through the eye of the hook as well. You just want to run it through the loop. So essentially with your tag end, as if you were going to make another wrap, instead of doing that, just go ahead and run it through that loop like so. Okay. And then what you want to do is you want to take your tag end that you have, and then you have one other loop up here near the top of your line right here. And you're going to take that tag end and you are going to run it through that loop straight out towards your main line here. So before you tighten anything down, you want to kind of take a look at what you have, because one of the key mistakes that people make when tying this knot is they'll get to this point and then they'll just cinch it all down before doing two things. The first thing is, like I was talking about earlier, really making sure that all of those wraps are in line. This knot, you'll see when I tighten it all the way, it's called the jam knot, the San Diego Jam Knot. When you tighten it, all of those coils are going to jam down on each other. And you'll really see that when I tighten the knot. And then the other thing that you want to do prior to tightening the knot here is you really want to wet the line. A lot of times if you don't lubricate the line in many knots, what you'll do is end up burning it and it won't have the strength that it should otherwise. So I'm going to use saliva. You can use whatever you want, but at this point you definitely want to wet the line. While that's happening, I'd like to quickly thank the sponsor of today's video, findafishingbuddy.com. If you're looking for someone to go fishing with, check out their website in the description below. They have members in all 50 states. Now that everything is lubricated up, you can take your tag end and give it a pull to cinch everything down, but really how you're going to cinch down this knot is you can take your main line and then hold on to the bottom of your hook, and what you can do is go ahead and gently and steadily pull that so that the knot goes all the way down to the eye of the hook, like so. And then you'll see as I tighten this, all of the coils will sort of compact and jam down on one another. And that tag end, you can make sure there's no slack out of it, and you'll see it kind of straighten up. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten it. And you can see there that all of those coils really compacted down on each other. And you'll see it even more with different strengths and sizes of line. But what you should end up with is a really compact, sort of stacked knot, all of the coils one right on top of the other, and your tag end neatly coming out here. And then the very last step of this knot is to take your pair of clippers and trim your tag end, just like so, and you have a completed San Diego jam knot. Now here's when you don't want to use this knot. If you're trying to tackle whether a jig, lure, or live bait hook, and it needs to have some action in the water to work properly, this is not the knot you want to use. The reason being, this knot creates a super tight connection to your tackle, which won't allow that action that you're looking for. In that situation, all you want to do is tie a simple loop knot, which you can learn in this video here. Thanks a lot for watching. Tight lines out there, and remember, just the lip.